Welcome back to my series, Dance Mums Uncovered. Abby's podcast, Leave It on the Dance Floor, seems rather inconsistent with the claims made by other cast members. So is Abby a reliable narrator, or does she like to spin situations to make herself appear better than others? Because there is much more to her behaviour than Abby cares to show. Feel free to share your thoughts on the following evidence. First, let's look at caring for her students. Abby continues to paint herself as a model dance teacher, claiming again and again that she deeply cared for her students. While I'm sure that she had positive moments with each and every one of the girls on Dance Mums, she very obviously didn't care if she hurt them. During her podcast, Abby claimed that she doesn't like to see her students cry. And yet, on more than one occasion, she proudly declared that she can make a kid cry in 30 seconds.
Seeing that is just never easy, and I know that you could agree. You never liked seeing your kids cry.
Oh, God, no.
We don't really need producers. I could probably make a kid cry in 30 seconds. I know exactly what to say to a child to make them run to their mother and then get their mother all ticked off.
Abby explained in her podcast that she told Kelly to take Paige to the pediatrician because for some reason she thought a doctor would have told her to butt out and leave Paige alone. She says that Kelly expected way too much of Paige and that she didn't let her kids be independent. And yet, I've discussed the insane expectations that Abby has for her dancers, and it's certainly way more pressure than what Kelly was placing on her kids. It is also possible that this wasn't the only time that Abby told Kelly to take Paige to the doctor. Chloe remembers this happening once during Pyramid, and Kelly remembers it happening in front of around 400 people.
When I said that, it was with the intent that the doctor would have told Kelly, butt out. Leave the kid alone. You are doing this to your child. You are expecting way too much.
I knew she had said this, and I knew that she said Children's Hospital another point.
That's another time. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that was in Pyramid.
They show it again, and we're in front of an audience of like 400 people, and she says,
I remember that.
And Paige wasn't Abby's only target in her podcast. She also said that none of the girls on the show were all that swift. Fortunately, her guest for that week, Todrick Hall, pointed out that the girls he worked with picked up choreography insanely fast and could even remember their routines years and years after learning them.
I needed to be with them, not with 7 little kids in the other room who, weren't that swift. Let's just put it out there.
I would teach them these combinations, and like 4 years later, they'd still be able to do it without messing up at all. Like they were computers. I've taught full adults that go to dance class and claim to be professional dancers, and no shade, but they can't remember choreography or pick it up as fast as those kids did.
Abby claims that the kids from the show didn't realize that she was their advocate, trying to make them look as good as possible. However, Christy and Kelly believe that Abby knew what she was doing when she called their kids stupid on television. They say that this is why Abby used to refuse to correct Maddie on camera.
Like I was always their advocate.
Yeah, exactly.
Always for them to look good.
Abby would never correct Maddie on camera because she wanted everyone to think she was perfect. She knew what she was doing and how she was affecting the kids, the way people saw our kids.
In the reunion before season 3, Abby insists that Chloe spends so much time doing meet and greets and jewelry lines that she is regressing. Christy responds, accusing Abby of painting her as a bad dancer, trying to sabotage any opportunities that Chloe could get from the show. Despite this, Abby has tried to claim on her podcast that she loved Chloe.
I just want people to realize that, you loved the kid. You loved the kid. And I hate hearing it, that you hated, that you despised Chloe.
Or are you so critical of Chloe?
Meeting, greeting, selling, jewelry line. She has regressed. It's horrible.
My daughter is amazing. I know. She just wants her not to ever have any opportunities from the show.
We all know that in season 8, she revealed that she never wanted Chloe to win. Plus, her actions both on and off the show convey anything but love. Next, let's explore mum shaming. Abby has also attempted to use her platform to shame the mums from the show, spinning the truth to paint them in a negative light. She has claimed on several occasions that Kelly couldn't pay the dance tuition for her 2 daughters. But on the other hand, we've also been told that once the show began, the production company began to pay for all the girls' tuition.
Her husband
didn't make near enough money in his family's business to pay for her 2 kids for the year for every private she took. There's no way.
Okay.
I have never been late on my bill, ever. Like, I pay it in full at the beginning of the year. Once we started the show,
We didn't pay our bills.
for our tuition.
She also declared that Kelly was obsessive with Brooke's dancing and would even come into bed with Brooke and do her makeup while she was still asleep.
I went away with them and was in the same room with them. She laid in the bed next to her child and did her makeup while she was still asleep.
She tells this story with an air of superiority, despite the fact that she herself has apparently done very similar things. Melissa says that before the show, Abby used to share a hotel room with her students, and even crawled into bed with Maddie and Mackenzie to snuggle them. Before Abby even told the story about Kelly, Christy and Kelly claimed that Abby used to get her makeup artist to come into her room and put eyelashes on her while she was lying in bed.
She would crawl into bed with Maddie or Kenzie, because we always all shared hotel rooms, because this was before Dance Moms, and she would snuggle with the girls.
She used to make the makeup artist come to her bedroom while she was laying in bed and put her eyelashes on.
In light of all of this, it's ridiculous that she tried to make Kelly seem obsessive for putting makeup on her own child. Abby also tried to insist that by the end of season 2, the kids could have left the show because they no longer had contracts. She insists that it was only the mums who had contracts with the production company to be on the show. However, Abby has also claimed that she couldn't expel Christy and Chloe from her studio due to their contracts, and was forced to allow them back into her studio.
By the end of season 2A or 2B, whatever this was, the kids could have walked. But the kids did not have a contract.
Lifetime called me and said, you have a contract. She has a contract. You cannot throw her out of the studio. You have to let the kid back in. No matter what I say to them, they can't quit. So I just go for it.
Evidence number 3, saving face. Abby has also used this podcast in an attempt to rebuild her reputation and dismiss her past controversies. She speaks about her online competition show and Dance Moms being cancelled as though it were a result of the pandemic. But in reality, it was well publicised that Abby was fired from Lifetime for making horrible racist comments towards 2 of her fellow cast members.
And I know that everybody in the world has things that COVID ruined and destroyed. I just want the world to know that we did have plans
100%.
to do season 9, A and B, and I wanted 10A. And we were set to go on.
She similarly describes her prosecution as a witch trial, saying that it's unfair that she was investigated by a city where she paid taxes for years. This is a particularly interesting statement since unpaid taxes were part of the reason why she was investigated in the first place.
The worst part was being scrutinized and investigated and treated like it was a witch hunt. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my hometown, where I paid taxes for a long time, a lot of years.
4. Accusing production. For years, Abby has been sharing information about the filming process of Dance Moms, but recently she has made a few remarks about production that may not be accurate. For a long time, Abby declared that production didn't intend for her to be on the show in the beginning, but when she had executive producer Brian Stinson on her podcast, he debunked the myth. He says that the second he saw footage of Abby teaching, he knew that she would be a super compelling character. He was so confident that she would be appropriate for the show that he didn't even go to interview her in person.
But tell the world though, I was not on the show.
No, in my head, I thought it was Dance Moms, and I was more interested in the moms. But we saw some footage of you teaching in the studio, and you were so good, and it was so compelling. And I was like, I don't even think we need to put her in an interview.
Christy has declared that she was the one who filmed Abby's audition for the show, but Abby says that she can't remember if Christy was the one to film it. She tries to make it sound like she didn't even want to do the show at first.
Is it true that Christy recorded a audition clip for you?
I don't know. I'm not that knowledgeable about the timeline. She kind of nabbed me in the den.
Gotcha.
And I said, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And I was, okay, fine.
Abby wanted to audition.
Oh, yeah.
He gave me a list of questions to ask her. And we sat in the den And I did Abby's total audition.
Oh my gosh.
Abby also attempted to get Brian to confirm her story that the kids were never auditioned and production never saw them dance before they hired them. But instead, Brian claims that he watched all the kids dance at a competition before the show went into production.
Tell the world,
Yeah.
in those interviews, nobody danced. They sat in a chair next to their moms. They were
Correct.
beautiful children.
That's
Yes.
correct. But I did see a lot of tape of the kids dancing.
Right.
And I did see them in your class
Right.
that we shot when we shot the
Right.
presentation. On the
No.
spot, no. But we
No.
did see
Dancing.
numbers and we saw dancing.
She also complained that the production company bought new things for the studios featured in Abby's Studio Rescue, but they didn't pay her anything to upgrade hers. And yet, in her legal documents, we see that Collins Avenue gave her a check of $50,000 for studio improvements, and also paid for various business expenses. And finally, we have hypocritical remarks. Several of the things that Abby criticizes others for doing in her podcast are things that she herself has also done. For instance, Abby claims that she never swore in front of the kids on the show. She has also acted in the past as though she is above doing so. But Christy and Kelly have pointed out that Abby swears too. In fact, in July 2015, rumours spiraled that Abby yelled and swore at a child fan who asked her for a photograph.
But I never swore at the kids. I shouldn't say never because there's maybe a couple little times, but I've never used bad words in front of children ever.
Abby swears.
Oh, yeah.
Abby has also accused Christy and Kelly of pimping out their kids by doing meet and greets. And yet she was doing the exact same thing with the other kids from the show, making money by touring them across the world for masterclasses.
I think in their minds saying, oh, well, my kid, I would have made millions of dollars and pimped my kid out to, meet and greets, and I would have made millions and built a house and did this and that.
And she wrote, Ms. Akin, please write about Christy Lukasiak pimping her daughter Chloe out to make a quick buck. If Chloe didn't continually miss class and come late and leave early, she would be an amazing dancer.
On that note, Abby also declares that several of the girls skipped classes outside of filming. She seems to be suggesting that the girls weren't dedicated enough to dance. But Melissa claims that Abby never showed up to these classes either, despite the fact that the kids would get in trouble if they were not there.
All the kids should have been in class on Monday and in class on Tuesday. And that's when we would do this choreography.
If you were at a competition on the weekend and you missed Mondays, you were in big trouble. Even though Abby never came to dance on Mondays, she always knew.
So what do you guys think? Have any of Abby's statements and stories fallen into question for you? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.